1995's Strange Days is probably one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time. I originally only ever watched it because TV Guide said there was going to be boobs in it. But then it just wound up being a really good movie that stuck with me ever since I saw it. At first, just because it was entertaining, but the past few years I keep getting reminded of it. Because I keep seeing so much technology cropping up that makes me think, oh yeah, just like in Strange Days. See, one of the main elements in the world of Strange Days, you got these disc recordings of people's memories. You can play back the memory and experience it as if you were them, with all the sights and the sensations and everything. If you had such technology, what would you use it for? Perhaps to experience situations that were too dangerous to try in reality. Perhaps to live out an unrequited love. Or, maybe a little something from that one industry that's always at the forefront of new media. You know the one, the science of getting your rocks off.
Oh my God.
Well, we're still not completely there, at least not as in-depth as the movie, but we're getting pretty close. Today's episode of Tales from the Internet. A Redditor who uses virtual reality to cheat on his wife with her sister, and he gets caught. And in getting caught, he winds up revealing the sister's terrible secret. This video is sponsored by Bespoke Post. Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club that sends you boxes of quality stuff from brands that are under the radar. It's free to join and you can skip a month or cancel at any time. Each month there's new products like outdoor gear, barware, home and kitchen goods, clothing, and more, based on a preference quiz that you fill out. Each box contains about $70 worth of stuff that costs you a fraction of that value. And you can preview your box before it's shipped. You can check out the one you're assigned, and if you don't like it, you can swap it for another one or skip the month entirely for no cost. Here's some of the stuff that I got. I got the Restore Kit. All kinds of toiletries like eye cream, cooling wipes, cologne. Got an outdoorsy one, the Retreat, that comes with a hammock and a blanket that can fold into a pillow. And then they were like, you know what the sorts of people who watch this channel ought to have? A big ass knife, so they sent me the Slash. To get 20% off your first box, just click the link in the description and use code WANG20 at checkout, or go to bespokepost.com/WANG20. Leave it to a Reddit user to pioneer the land of virtual reality cheating, and of course, to have it blow up in his face spectacularly. On May 17th of 2019, an anonymous user on a throwaway account posted, "Today I fucked up. TIFU, I've officially branded myself as the biggest perv, and I 100% deserve it." This incident that he's about to tell us about had only happened an hour prior. And of course, with his whole life on the precipice of collapse, he decides to post about it on Reddit. So here's what happened. He's about to go on vacation with his wife, and they want to get some good footage of the trip. His wife's sister had a sick 360-degree pocket camera, so they ask her to borrow it, and she's like, yeah, sure. But when they get the camera, he discovers that the memory card that she had is still inside it. He checks the memory card and sees that it does in fact still have some video on it. What kind of video? I'm glad you asked. A 1 hour long 360-degree POV style porn video of herself. Her sister is not a sex worker, so why would she have such a thing? His theory is that because her husband travels a lot for work, she kinda had to go the extra mile to keep things happy on those long trips. So, he just respectfully pretends to have not seen it, goes on with his life, and him and his wife have a lovely vacation. Of course, that's not what fucking happened. See, him and his wife's sister over the past several years have actually had a bit of a complicated relationship. I've had the hots for her for the past 8+ years. Before she got married, and I have, there were several times sexual tensions arose between the two of us. Living together for a year as strictly roommates, movies, dinners, getting drunk while watching movies, just the two of us, breakfasts, etc. A certain trust, or test, was implemented and nothing ever happened between the two of us, as at the time I was dating my now wife, which was working at a distance. But damn it, at the time, if she had just touched my hand once back then, I think I would have lived a whole different life. And suddenly, there it was, right there in his hands. Not just a glimpse into the life that never existed, but a way to step inside of it for just an hour. So he sits on it for a while until he has a day off. That day comes and he sits around waiting for his wife to go out. And he doesn't have to worry about her unexpectedly coming back and getting caught, because you see, they have a system. I have an automated house that lights up the house with geolocation. Before, the app worked with Apple HomeKit, a third-party app needed to be downloaded which tracks your family and friends. Free version only allows you to add one person, so my wife. Wife and I had this app for 3 years now, even if it's useless now after an app update a couple of years back on the original app. We never deleted it since it was so useful for tracking each other using notifications. I get a notification when she's at work, and when I arrive at work, we also both get notifications when one arrives home. Good for times where she does groceries, for example, and I get a notification to prompt me to go out and help her out. Or when I work late and finally leave the office, prompting her to set up the dining table. So he sets up his VR headset, puts his AirPods in, and gets to work. This would have lasted me tops 5 minutes. But the foreplay she does is long and boring. Then the action starts and I go on. So there he is, sitting on his bed spanking the monkey to his wife, sister, and glorious VR, living the whole experience in first person as if he was actually up in those sister-in-law guts. And then, with no notification, his wife walks in mid-tug with the goggles still on his face. Are you winning, husband? You see, his wife forgot to charge her phone the night before, so the phone was dead and thus no notifications. He explains that his wife knows he masturbates, but they never had the whole is porn cheating conversation, nor conversations about any of the other possible situations he brings up. Is a sex doll cheating? Is a robot cheating?
Please assume the position.
How about someone stroking you through an electronic sex toy through the power of the internet? In any case, his startled wife rips the goggles off his face and goes, "The fuck?" Then she looks inside the goggles. Is that my sister? She still has her shoes on from coming home, and she grabs the VR headset in her bags and storms out. He doesn't see where she went until she gets a chance to charge her phone, and then he sees she's at her parents' house, next door to her sister. So he's fucked. And that's where the post originally ends. Several hours later though, he adds an edit. He mentions that just making the post made him feel a little bit less stressed out, having someone to vent to. But after the post, he's calling his wife, no answer. Then he gets a call from her sister. He didn't pick up though, cause he was scared of what might happen, so she calls him 5 times in a row and eventually just texts him, "Call me." Here's what he does next. I left the apartment and decided to go watch a movie at the theater. Needed to get distracted, which didn't help as I didn't focus once on Detective Pikachu. There's any doubt that this guy was a Redditor. But they're still calling him during the movie and the notifications are getting him distracted. So eventually he just says fuck it and goes back home. And then on the drive back, he gets a notification that his wife is at the house. Not much he can do now. Arrived home, was getting ready for the shitstorm about to happen. That out-of-body experience came back really quickly to reality as I got to the door and then had that fear again. I know she got notification I was back. Of course, both his wife and his sister-in-law are already waiting for him. And remember now, at this point, he doesn't really know if his sister-in-law knows what he did. So he can't apologize or say anything about the situation first. He might unnecessarily incriminate himself. So they're just sitting there in silence until his wife finally says something. I spoke to sister-in-law about what happened. She knows. He starts apologizing to her and the sister goes, "You know this video wasn't meant for you, right?" Gives him a 10-minute talking to that he nods along with. But then this drama comes out that fucked with me. She said that it wasn't for her husband neither. He's been constantly traveling to Bulgaria voluntarily at any chance he could for work, but also through the years he's been having an affair with a colleague there which works at the branch. She knew for a while and let it slide as he was still providing for sister-in-law, but the providing became less and less. Wife knew too about this as she and her sister are so close, but the info was kept within the family to avoid dishonor. This is a big Eastern mentality to have. And it's not the first time family info was kept secret from me, but now they told me because of the circumstance. I was told not to apologize or speak to her husband as he does not know about this video. Sister-in-law is seeing someone else. Her husband and her both live as roommates for now. The divorce word can never go out, but she's found someone long distance and that video was for him. The reason for all the calls was to not mention anything to her husband. Sister-in-law feared that if I did, then this video would have been proof held during divorce process as if she was at fault. So he's freaking the fuck out, but at this point they're also so focused on the sister situation that the topic of him jerking off to the video of her doesn't come up again. That night the sister stays over, they got some food and have a few drinks. Everyone's laughing and having a good time. He describes the sister kicking him under the table every time he makes a joke. He said he felt like having this secret between them all made them feel closer. And then they all sleep in sleeping bags in the living room. He said it's like a camping trip. So, I guess he got away with it. People got a lot to say about this. I think you just wanted to flex on us with those AirPods. It got a bunch of people saying, hey, you should go for a threesome. Which honestly, reading the story, that also crossed my mind. Well, this isn't where the story ends actually. The next day, the post is edited. Everything is deleted and replaced. This is his now ex-wife. Did he not realize, or too dumb to remember, we share everything, including the same Reddit app? I logged on to see this throwaway as the default login account. I've removed all of this personal story for my family's protection and changed this account's password, although it might be too late and already circulated online. Yeah, you could say that it's a little too late and circulated online. I took a look through the comments and was seriously disgusted by most of the responses suggesting to sexually approach both of us last night, which my sister did mention he tried something in the middle of the night. This guy is incredibly living in another world. She then says that she only made this edit to make sure people knew that he did not get away with it. And the actual reason that they had this little living room campout was so that he wouldn't see her packed bags. And before he woke up, they got her shit and dipped. She froze the joint banking account. She deleted the tracking app, and she gave away all his Reddit gold. Also mentioned plans to get a lawyer and get a divorce. TLDR, his life is ruined. This story would go on to earn the fuck up of the month for May of 2019. And although there are certain details to this story that do lend themselves to its credibility, there's one circle that I just cannot square with it. They shared the same Reddit app. Granted, she didn't elaborate on what device was used. Perhaps there was a shared PC that they had where he just simply stayed logged in, but why would you call that an app? Because if she's away and she's looking at Reddit on her phone and sees the account logged in, how it, like, I don't think it works like that. The only way that I could see that working is if he made the throwaway account using an email that they share and she recovered the password, but she didn't say that she did that. Of course, I've never been in a situation where I was sharing all of my login info with somebody else, so maybe there's just something you do that I don't know about. If I'm wrong and there is something like that, let me know. But in any case, that's the story of the Redditor who cheated on his wife with her sister in virtual reality. If you like this video, check out the video about the photographer who sold his model's eggs online. I'm out.